Imagine waking up in total darkness. You're 30 meters underwater, surrounded by the twisted wreckage of a sunken ship. It's pitch black, freezing cold, and you're the only one alive. No food, no water, just the sound of air bubbles and bodies floating nearby. You were supposed to die hours ago, but somehow, you're still breathing. This is the real-life survival story of Harrison Okene, the man who spent 60 hours trapped in an air pocket inside a sunken ship at the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean. No one knew he was alive. No one was coming to save him, and what he went through is pure nightmare fuel. Harrison Okene was a 29-year-old cook aboard a tugboat called the Sunken 4. On May 26, 2013, the ship was working off the coast of Nigeria, helping an oil tanker move into position. It was routine work. 12 crew members, calm sea. Nothing unusual. At 4:30 a.m., Harrison got up to use the bathroom. He didn't know it yet, but that decision would be the only reason he survived. Because just seconds later, a giant rogue wave slammed the boat. The Sunken 4 flipped violently and capsized. Within moments, the ship was upside down and rapidly sinking. The lights went out. Water rushed in. Everyone was thrown violently around the ship. Most of the crew were trapped in their rooms. Some drowned instantly. Others were crushed. But Harrison, still in the tiny bathroom, was thrown against the wall and slammed underwater. He fought his way out into a hallway, completely blind, and somehow made it into the engineer's office, one of the only places in the ship with a trapped air pocket. He clung to a table as the ship slammed into the ocean floor. And that's where the nightmare began. When the ship finally stopped moving, Harrison was still alive, but barely. He was now sitting in total darkness, 30 meters below the surface. No light, no sounds. Only the groaning of twisted metal and the rising icy water around him. He had no way of knowing how deep he was, no idea if anyone else survived, and no way to call for help. He stripped off his soaked clothes to stay warm. He had no light source, just total darkness pressing in around him. From that point on, everything was pitch black. The air pocket he found was about 4 feet high. He couldn't stand. He couldn't sleep. He was literally squatting on top of a floating mattress, trying to keep his upper body above water. The temperature was near freezing. The water kept rising and falling, and he could hear the sound of fish eating the bodies of his dead crewmates. Harrison's mind started to break. He began to pray, out loud, constantly. He said later, "All around me was just black and noisy. I was crying and calling on Jesus to rescue me." He lost all sense of time, praying constantly just to stay sane. He had no food, no fresh water, and he knew that the air in the pocket was running out. Every breath was stealing oxygen from his own survival. Worse, the carbon dioxide was building up. At a certain point, you can suffocate even with air still in the room. His skin became pale, soft, wrinkled like rubber from staying in salt water for days. He was sure he was going to die. Quick break. If you're into strange places and survival stories with dark twists, you'll want to stick with us. We drop at least 3 new videos every week uncovering the weirdest real-world stories you've never heard of. So, if you're enjoying this one, hit that subscribe button. It helps more than you know. Alright, let's get back to the video. He even accepted it, praying to God to at least let his body be found so his mother could bury him. But then, on the 3rd day, he heard something. Faint banging. A distant sound like clinking metal, then bubbles. Divers. They had been sent to recover bodies, not rescue survivors. The ship had been written off. Everyone was presumed dead. But Harrison knew this was his one shot. He found a metal pole, and in total darkness, banged it against the wall as hard as he could. Over and over again. And then, a light. Out of the black water, a diver's hand appeared. When the diver saw Harrison, he actually jumped back in shock, thinking he was a ghost, or a hallucination. Harrison reached out and grabbed him. The diver had just found a man alive, after 60 hours in a sunken ship. But here's the terrifying part. They couldn't just pull him up. If Harrison had swum straight to the surface, he would have died instantly from decompression sickness. So the rescue team brought him a diving mask, and he had to spend nearly another full day inside a pressurized diving bell, slowly adjusting to surface pressure. Only then was he brought back to land. When the news broke, the world was stunned. The footage of his rescue went viral, and people couldn't believe it was real. But for Harrison Okene, survival came with a cost. He had to watch 11 crewmates die. He listened to their bodies being torn apart in the dark. He sat alone in an air bubble the size of a closet, preparing for death, for 3 days straight. Even today, Harrison says he can't go near the ocean. He became a deeply religious man, and he still has nightmares about the darkness and the water rising. Harrison Okene survived something no one else ever has. 3 days alone, underwater, inside a sunken ship. It sounds impossible, but it happened. The only question is, if it were you down there, no light, no sound, no way out, could you have kept calm? Or would the ocean have taken you too? Let me know in the comments. And if you want even stranger stories, watch the video on your screen right now. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.